Good evening, everybody. My name is Jen, the Caffeinated Crafter. Today is Friday, November the 22nd, 2024. Welcome back to my Flosstube channel. I believe this is Flosstube 98, pretty sure. If you're new to my channel, welcome. This is a channel where I talk about all the cross stitch. And if you're returning to my channel, welcome back. Thanks so much for watching and subscribing and commenting and all the things. It's very much appreciated. So my stitching week was not that great. It's been a long week. Getting home late due to accidents, none of which I was involved in. Other people got into accidents, delayed me getting home. There was one night that I didn't get home until 7:15, and I left work at 5:30 because there was a fatal accident kind of on the route that I take home, but it backed up, blocked off a 6-lane road. And so all that traffic was being diverted to all the side roads that we all normally take to get home. I ended up having to make a U-turn and go 7 miles in the opposite direction, or else I wouldn't have gotten home until 10 p.m. People on Facebook were saying that it was taking them 4 hours to get home. It was rough. So anyway, there was a couple days where I got very, very minimal stitching done. And then of course I have my kids, so I had to make them dinner. Dumb kids have to eat. Like, I don't know why people have to eat dinner. Yeah, so it's been a week. So I mean, all things considered, here's my board. All things considered, not too bad. I didn't get to work on everything I wanted to. I did not get my bake-off stitching completed. I did get all of my Monopoly stitching done. I got most of the temperature stitching done. I got a portion of the bake-off. I worked, I'm not completely caught up on riding the wave, but you guys will see when I update my tracking board how much I have left, so it's not that bad. And I did a very, very little bit on my full coverage pull that I had done. Didn't get to work on the other stuff, but we'll talk about all of that in my plans later on in the video, because Thanksgiving in the US is next Thursday, which is when I would normally film. So we'll talk about that later. But yeah, not too terrible, but could have been better. I would have liked it to be better, but that's okay. All right, so, real quick, let me think about where I want to put this so I can see it easier. I'm trying to think of where I can put this so I'm not like constantly looking over. Maybe right here, and then as I'm holding the project up, I can just glance over. Maybe we'll do that. Okay. Real quick, before I get started on my whips, I just want to show you a couple things I got in the mail. I did order, for those who follow me on a regular basis, I did go ahead and I think I told you I had ordered the rest of the floss I needed for that, for Dreaming of Autumn Leaves from, who is it? Rosewood Manor, I think. But I did order the rest of the floss that I needed. This one's pretty cool. It's no, that's Cole, not that one. This one, Noel. That one is actually a neat one. I had to double check and make sure that it was the right color. But yeah, that one's probably my favorite one out of all of them. But yeah, so I got the rest of the floss I need for Dreaming of Autumn Leaves. So the next time that comes out, I will be able to, what am I trying to say? Fill in what's missing. Fill in the areas that are missing. And then I also got this cry neck that I'm dropping on the floor. And get that before it rolls under my couch. I'm trying to remember what project I ordered it for. Is it for Nightingale? Maybe Nightingale? I don't remember. I remember I had it in my cart on 123 Stitch before my mom and I went to Brick City for my birthday. And I had it just sitting in the cart because I was like, well, I know I need this one, so let me see if it's at Brick City when we go. And they did not have it. They had a different color that was like similar to it, but not the one I was looking for. So I was like, it's okay, I'll just order it online, no big deal. But now I don't remember what I ordered it for, but this is like a really dark blue. So I feel like I may have, oh, now my fingers are shaking. I'm getting the tremors. I might have ordered it for Nightingale. So I'm just going to put it back in this bag and hold on to it until I come across a piece that, because I got it for a whip that I was working on. That's why I think it was Nightingale. And I'll just keep it in my little three-tiered cart over here until I come across a piece that uses Krynic and double check and see if that was a color. The other thing I wanted to show you was my fabric of the month from Mystic Fabrics. This is for November 2024. I've been meaning to show this for the past 3 Flosstubes and I keep forgetting. So everyone should have it by now because the month is almost over. But this is, I get this in a 28 count Monaco and I get the fat quarter. I get the light and the dark. So this is the light and this is mauve. This is really nice. I like this one a lot. So there's that one. Pretty true to color. Yeah, that's about right. Might be showing a little bit darker than what it is. And then the other one is Irony. This is the dark one. Again, in a 28 count Monaco. That's pretty true to color right there. I really like this one too. So I have a couple patterns that might work on both of these. I'm just gonna kind of keep them in my stash until I come across and I'll be like, oh, maybe this will work. Maybe this will work. So there's that. Okay, let's go ahead and get into my stitching. So the first thing I'm going to show you, well, I'm just going to go off of how I have it here. Okay, so the first one I'm going to show you is from, well, no, I want to, hang on. I'm going to try to do this in an order. All right, I'll show you the full coverage piece I have pulled. I've been having, so it's been a long week. Okay, so a few weeks ago, I normally pull a full coverage, a non-full coverage, a close to a finish, a new start, like a piece that I had, oh God. Should I start this over? Screw it. Okay. Every week, I usually pull a full coverage, a non-full coverage, a new start to get a 3,000 stitches on it. And then I have my focus pieces. I have stitching for Great British Bake Off. I play Monopoly, and then I do temperature stitching. Oh, it's Gracie in the corner. Hi, Gracie. Come here. You want to come here? No, just out of my reach. So I've actually had the same projects in my polls, like the full coverage and non-full coverage, for a few weeks now because I just have not been able to really work on them. And so I keep meaning to, and I just have not been able to get to them. But I was able to do a few stitches on Peaceful Jaguar. That was my full coverage pull for the week. And this is by the Cross Stitch Studio. Artwork is by Lucy, I always mispronounce her last name, Bilodeau. But it's charted by the Cross Stitch Studio. This is a crop of a larger piece. It's 325 by 325. It has 91 colors. This is what it's going to look like when it's done. That looks so good. I'm really excited to get going on that one, like really get into it. I do not have a before picture for you because what I ended up doing was I'm doing it 1/1 full cross on a, I think this is like a 28 count, easy count Lugana. And so this was my original start over here, right? And what I ended up doing was, I counted over and I did one diagonal over here in this corner. And then I counted down and I did this little diagonal over here in this corner. And I originally had done, and see, this is why it's important to triple check your work, because I had only double checked it when I went to go do this corner over here. Luckily, I'd only done one diagonal and not a bunch, because I was actually over too far. I did not realize, because when I was counting with, like from here, I was counting down and I had the correct this way, like going, like I had the correct level here, but I had accidentally, not realizing it, when I was using my, when I was counting over here so I could count the actual squares. And I actually had started in the correct spot, but in that square instead of that square, but down further. So I realized it because I did that one, and then I came over here and did this one, and I'm glad I did it that way, because when I went to go do this one, I realized that this was not matching up with those two. And then once I realized the mistake was over here, I went ahead and did this one. I pulled this one out. I frogged that corner. Luckily, it was only like 30-something stitches, so it wasn't that bad, but it was 1/1. It's a pain in the butt to pull that out. And that was one of the days where I got home really late. So by the time I got this and this done, and this one was done, and then I had to pull it out, it was really late, and I said, forget it. I'll just have to wait. But my plan, if you guys don't normally follow me, my plan is going to be to get this single diagonal done, right? So it's only going to be a few stitches, and then I'm going to come up here and get the rest of, because it's just a few stitches for this one. So this diagonal and this diagonal down here, so the diagonals going this way, which include this corner here, they're going to be bigger than the other direction. So that's the bottom right corner, right there. Oh, it's a leopard spot. No, it's part of the tree. And then in the diagonals that are going this direction, they're actually going to be a bit, well, in the beginning, they're going to be a bit narrower. No, they're all going to be narrower because of how it is. So that's why that one's really tiny. And then this one down here is going to be really tiny when I get that one. But my plan is going to be diagonal, like I'm going to get this one filled in for that diagonal. I'm going to come back down here and get that one diagonal done. And then I'm going to go diagonal by diagonal and just go all around, and it's going to fill in. So the stitches I actually did get done, these tiny pathetic little stitches, I did 70. Ooh, but I guess that's 70 more than what I had. So I'm now at 2,286 stitches done out of 105,625, and I am at 2.16%. So it's okay. Things happen. I'm still tracking it on my tracking board. That's 70 stitches. But yeah. All right. And then let's see, here it is. My whip of shame for the month of November. Every month, if you're new, every month I have a piece that I work on that is greater than 10 years old. And you guys vote you guys have like the second half of the month to vote on the following month's pick. So I will show those two options after like everything, like when I talk about plans, I'll show which two are in the running to be picked for December. Going by, I haven't tallied the comments yet, but going by what I've seen in the comments, there is a front runner. But the one for the month of November is Riding the Wave, and this is from Creative Accents. That's what it's going to look like when it's done. And this is designed by Jim Warren, and it's from 2003. I'm using everything that came in the kit. My goal for my whips of shame, are to do 100 stitches a day for the month that they are being worked in. So for the month of November, it is a total of 3,000 stitches that I would like to get done on it. These pieces are not only greater than 10 years old, but they also have very little progress, because when I used to do these back in the day, that was back when the kits, you had to sort the floss yourself, which now I hate, I don't enjoy doing it. I prefer the kits that come with the floss pre-sorted. But back then I loved doing it, right? And so I would get all the floss sorted, and then I would do like, you know, a few hundred stitches, and then I would buy another kit and I would sort that floss and do a few hundred stitches. I just enjoyed doing it. So a lot of these have not a lot of progress on them. But this is Riding the Wave. I have done a total of 1,201 half stitches on it. And I know I worked up here. Pretty sure this might be new. I know I worked all up in here, and I've gotten some of this sky up here done. I was trying to get like kind of down this section down here done, and I realized when I was working on this that the darker color is actually off. I should have done like 3 stitches here. It's off. So what I'm going to do, instead of ripping that out and redoing it, because it's just water, so I'm just going to, because this is all correct, it's just this dark line here, I had messed up something with where the stitches were, and so it's a little off, and that means that this section is off. So I'm going to kind of probably tackle it maybe this weekend and work, like fill this in and work down, and then just kind of figure out where below where it should be, and just kind of fill in appropriately. Nobody's going to know once it's done. Nobody's going to have any clue. I'm not ripping all that out. I think the mistake was like right around here. Should have been, stitches were off or whatever. But anyway, does not matter. I'm going to get it corrected by working around it. Fudge it. Gracie. So there's that. So that's going to stay out for the rest of the month. Next up, let's do, what are we going to do? By the way, I don't think I mentioned I worked on 8, 9, 10, 14 projects. I didn't mention that before. Let's do Monopoly stitching. So, where's my Monopoly book? Here it is. All right, let's go over Monopoly stitching first, because it's right here. So, in my Monopoly game, I play 4 tokens, and where they land, I have stitch counts set up for everything, and where they land determines like what stitches they do. So the cat had rolled doubles and landed on New York Avenue, and that was already owned by another token, so it had to pay rent of 100 stitches. And my New York Avenue piece is the Harry Potter Stitch Your Own Adventure from Cunning Cross Stitch. This is a mock-up of the parchment outlines, because it is a choose your own adventure stitching piece. So every chapter will be different. So there's not really a true mock-up of what it will look like when it's done, because the contents of the idea of each chapter is the same. Like every chapter 1 is the house flag, but people can have different house flags. So, and then chapter 2 is the Quidditch game, and so that can be different as well. I'm doing it 3 times. I'm doing one for myself and then one for each of my kids. So the New York Avenue piece is my older son's piece. And this is what it looked like when you saw it before. And I decided that instead of going back down into chapter 5 to work on that, I decided to try to finish some of the, because I had some hanging threads in this area up here. So I decided to work on the swirl. So I did 100 stitches on the blue swirl up there. It's going to be, it's basically the swirls in the colors representing the different houses. So this one is the Ravenclaw one, and it's almost done. And then over, this is the front end of my son's wand, and then I still have to do the back end. But this is his chapter 5. It's, something with potions. So once that's done, like he wanted to, like the idea is that you pick, like it's a love potion and you pick your favorite smells. And so his was coffee, bread, and peaches. Mine will be different and my other son's will be different. So, but there's that, another 100 stitches on his piece. It'll be more fun to see this, comparing all the 3 pieces that I'm working on, because even like I normally don't stitch the same pattern multiple times, but because of how this is set up, it's not like you're, like some aspects are the same, like all the swirls on all 3 are going to be the same. But our wands are going to be different. Like all 3 of us are in different houses. You know, everything's gonna be different. So it's not like not really like I'm stitching on the same thing. So the cat had rolled doubles, landed on that. So it rolled again and landed on Waterworks. And Waterworks was up for purchase. So the cat purchased it. And the Waterworks piece it's a Marshmallow World. And this is by Sugar Stitches Design. And that is what it's going to look like when it's done. I am doing it with Call for DMC on a 16 count milk chocolate Ada. And to purchase Waterworks, it was 300 stitches. And that is where I'm at with it so far. So I got my 300 stitches done. I really love how these colors are popping off of the milk chocolate fabric. It's really, really cute. So I got the white border here and then the 2 colors that run underneath it. And I did this little piece of, what is that, candy or something? I think I did that candy. I think I filled in some of this checkered border too. I think that's everything I did. I don't remember. You'll see it in the before picture. I don't remember if I did these 2 as well or if those were already done. I really don't remember. But yeah. So there's that. So now whenever a piece lands on it, it'll pay rent of 150 stitches. Then the dog rolled, landed on Community Chest, and the card that it had pulled was for a new start, but I had already pulled that card previously. And so so I wrote the new start on that card so that it would get more stitches, and that one, so I put 200 more stitches on it. And this is a kit from Artiste. This is in English, it's a hen, however you want to pronounce it in French. I don't remember. I don't speak French. People have told me how to pronounce it and I keep forgetting, but that's what it's going to look like when it's done. It is a full coverage piece. A lot of black stitching. And so I did 200 more stitches on it, and this is where I'm at with it now. And I realized when I was working on, so what I did was I worked on like some of the color, like I finished my thread over here. I worked on some more of the color, because this whole top banner is solid black, and then the design that's on it is backstitch. So I was like, and there's like a lot of black in it. So I was like, well, let me work on some up here, and then I was going to come down here, and I started working on the little design that's in here, and I realized that this is off. I was realizing that when I was stitching this here, so I have to go back and pull that out, which means I have to pull this out and redo this because this is 1 stitch too short. And it's a design that it's cut off by their frame here, but it's like a design, so I kind of have to fix it. I'm not very pleased with myself on that one. That's what I get for not paying super close attention. But I got my 200 stitches done on that, and I will worry about fixing that later. Then next is the thimble. The thimble landed on luxury tacks. It rolled doubles and it landed on luxury tacks. So when I land on luxury tacks, I put 200 stitches in on my free parking piece. So I'm not going to show that just yet because of the car. I will show you in a few minutes. So it landed on luxury tacks and then it rolled again. It passed go and landed on Baltic. So when it passed go, whenever someone passes go, I do 200 stitches on my reindeer stocking. And this one is called The Enchanted Christmas Reindeer by Donna Gelsinger. It's charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. That's what it's going to look like when it's done. And it is 240 by 344. Has 87 colors. And I'm doing it 2/1 10th stitch on a 25 count easy count Lugana. I'm going to show you where I worked first. And so I got 200 stitches done on it up in the top right corner. I converted this into a diagonal. It's not on there crooked. There we go. I was just holding it crooked. So I got this entire diagonal done, and then I did a few stitches. Like I finished this diagonal. I didn't do that diagonal in 200. I finished that diagonal, and I did a few stitches down here. I'm working in the threads that have been parked in this diagonal, working those in. That's the whole thing. So I am currently sitting at 12,605 stitches completed out of 55,903, and I am at 22.55% complete. So there's that. And then it had, so like I said, it passed go. Where did this bag go? Oh, here it is. So it passed go and it landed on Baltic. Well, it already owns Baltic. And Baltic is side 1, all the properties on side 1, their purchase price is 100 stitches and their rent is 50 stitches. 50 stitches is like nothing. I actually did the rent stitches before I started filming. I didn't really have to do them because it already owns it, but I was like, it's only 50 stitches. Now, the rest of the pieces, like the rest of the board, I'm not going to do that. But I was like, it's only 50 stitches. So I went ahead and did 50 stitches on it, even though technically I didn't have to. But the Baltic piece is Spa Gnome, and this is from Cute Bordery Design. That's what it's going to look like when it's done. And I am doing this on a 14 count Charles Craft Aida. I picked it up at Joann's. It's like this pink, it's a printed Aida. So the back of it is white and the front of it, this one, particular one is like this pinky purple color. You can get this on 1-2-3 Stitch. It does have a color for it, but I don't know what the color name is because it does not have a color name when you pick it up as a pre-cut roll from the craft store, which is how I got this. But I did do 50 stitches on this. And it was probably going to be hard to see, but I did 50 stitches up here in the towel that's on her head. And because I figured the only time I work on this piece right now is when I play Monopoly. And I figured if I can, I'm going to go ahead and get the stitches in Next year, I'll probably pull her into maybe the temperature stitching to get more stuff done on her. Because I do have her in pattern keeper, not for the back stitching, of course, but the cross stitching wise, I'm now at 2,327 stitches done out of 5,479. I'm 42.47% done with her cross stitching. So what I'll probably do is, because all my stuff is resetting in January regarding what I'm stitching on, so I'll probably try to pull her into temperature stitching next year. Maybe. There's so many things I want to work on, so I have a lot of projects. It's going to be a big whip parade next month. So excited. But yeah, I went ahead and did her 50 stitches, so I was like, why not? Then the car landed on free parking. This is why I was holding off showing you what I did for the thimble landing on luxury tax. So the car landed on free parking. So luxury tax, income tax, and free parking are all the same piece. So for the thimble landing on luxury tax, I had to do 200 stitches. And then when the car landed on free parking, I had to do 400 stitches. And my free parking piece is my other stocking. I'm doing these for my kids. This one is the Falling Snow, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. Artwork is by Alan Guiana, and it is 296 by 393. It has 90 colors. One thing that kind of bugs me, not gonna lie, is that the stockings are not the same size. I did not realize that when I purchased them. I was just like, oh, stockings, I'll make them and they can hang side by side. Well, one of them is 20,000 stitches larger than the other one. Kind of annoyed by that. But when my kids eventually move out, they're going to I'm going to make them take their stockings with them. Actually, they'll willingly take them because even though they don't stitch themselves, they actually really enjoy my stitching. They get excited when I show them stuff. So it won't matter in the end when they take them with them, but for right now, I'm kind of like, ugh. So I had to do 600 stitches on this. I'm doing it 2/1 tent stitch on a 25 count easy count Lugana. And this is where I worked, up in this corner here. I got my 600 stitches in on it. And this is the whole thing so far. I am currently sitting at 20,463 stitches done out of 78,648. I am at 26.02%. I had originally started this extreme cross country. I had picked a symbol that was in the center and I was completing colors on it. And then for a challenge or something, I had to work in a certain section, or I had to do so many stitches, but I didn't want to take 5,000 pictures, so I had worked like down here in this area. Now I converted it into a diagonal. Like, I don't know if I'm going to keep it in a diagonal, but I'm keeping it in one for right now while I get that background part done, that top part. But I might fill in once I don't know what I'm going to do. But for right now, it's in a diagonal. So that was all my Monopoly stitching. Next up, let's do temperature stitching. So I did not get all of the temperature stitching completed. I don't even have my book. Where's my book? Where's my book? I don't have my book. Oh, it's over here. Okay. I did not get all of the temperature stitching completed. But what I do for my temperature stitching, I got the main idea from Siski over at Siski Stitches about doing whips per temperature instead of a one-piece temperature, and changing the colors like most temperature stitches do. But she had the idea of having a whip assigned to each temperature and working on it that way. Doing like 100 stitches if that piece's temperature came up. And I liked that idea, but my temperatures in Central Florida, West Central Florida, are pretty consistent with being elevated, like above 80. So like we do have times where it drops below 80, like today, it was cold today. But for the most part, it's pretty warm here. So I was like, well, instead of doing the same thing over and over because the temperatures stay pretty similar, what I did was I took 10 pieces and assigned them to 0 through 9. And when I look at the temperature, I take the second digit of the temperature and whatever number that is, like for example, if it's 84 degrees for a high, then I take whichever whip is assigned to the number 4 and I do 100 stitches on it. You could do it day by day. That's what I started off doing, but then I was realizing that it was going to, between everything else I had going on at the time, now what I do is I look at the forecasted highs for the upcoming week, and it doesn't matter if it ends up changing, it's just that's what I'm going off of, is the forecasted highs for the week. So the one that I had assigned to the number 0 was Twisted Band Sampler. It came up one time on the 16th. It was projected to be 80 degrees that day for a high. And so I needed to do 100 stitches on it. This is, like I said, it's Twisted Band Sampler from Northern Expressions. And that is what it's going to look like when it's done. I am doing the full cross version. They do have a version that's specialty stitches, but I opted for the regular cross stitch, and I'm doing it in the DMC colors instead of the called for. But I got my 100 stitches done. For anyone who has seen this piece, I did get that little corner done. I had one little corner that had been sitting there for a while, waiting to be finished. And I did get it done. So I'm doing it with the called for DMC on a 28 count white Lugana, white Monaco, 28 count Jobelin. There we go, in white. So I finished this band right here, right? But this band, is the part that comes down here is the same color as this. And I was like, ugh. So I finished a little bit in this band here. And then I started doing, and then I did a strand in the part going over here. And then I decided to go ahead and take the other color. So I'll kind of do this entire band going down with both of the colors. And so I did the 100 stitches. I am now at 1,020 stitches completed out of 21,989. And I am at 4.64%. And for right now, I am switching these pieces whenever I work on them 10 times, so they would get 1,000 stitches. So this one still actually has 5 more times to be worked on before it gets replaced. And I'm going to be changing my switch out count for next year. I'm increasing it to 2,000 stitches. Somebody else has seen, is it Leanne over at Small Town Stitches, or was it Stitching Mommy, or was it Jessie Marie? All 3 of them are doing it now, which I love. I love when I see other people see what people are doing and how it's working for them, and then they kind of switch it up and change it so it works for them. Love it. One of them is switching it out. I think it was Jessie Marie said she was going to switch it out at 2,000 stitches, I believe. But that's what I was actually planning on doing next year. I think it was Jessie Marie. No, it was Jessie Marie. Yeah. She said she was going to switch hers out at 2,000 stitches. And I was like, oh, that's funny, because that's actually what I was going to do next year. So then the next one that I worked on is Cup of Cheer. This one was assigned to the number 1. That came up one time on the 18th. There was a high that day of 81, projected high that day of 81. This is by Shannon Christine Designs. I love this thing. It is so stinking cute. I absolutely, every time I look at the cover photo, I'm like, man, this piece is so adorable. I love it. I'm doing it with the Call for DMC on a 14. I think it's 14 count, Ada. Looks like a 14 count. Could be a 16. Might be a 14 though. 14 count Ada. We'll go with that. It's some kind of like gray blue color. I really don't remember the name of it. I just picked a color that looked like it would work off a 1, 2, 3 stitch. So I did not work on that part. Like I said, I might do. I decided I want to work on the blue cup. Now I got strands hanging everywhere, but I got my 100 stitches done. Yeah, got 100 stitches done on it. So that was on this cup here. Yeah, because I really like those blues. So I wanted to work on those. What I like about this piece is that all of it is, sorry for the glare, all of it's really fun. Like even the phrase up at the top is fun. So everything's fun to work on. It's just a fun piece. My gingerbread man is not completed. I gotta finish him. But yeah, so I got my 100 stitches done. This is actually one that I had, this is a replacement for the number one. Not replacement, but it had, my original number one had the 1,000 stitches done. So this was the replacement for that. This one has 6, it's been worked on 3 times since it, where did my cover photo go? Here it is. This one's been worked on a total of 3 times since it got put into the temperature rotation. So it has 7 more times to get worked on before it gets replaced. Or until the end of the year, whichever one comes first. I did not get to work on Poltergeist Pirates. The next one I worked on was the one that was assigned to number 4. This one is Espresso. And this is a Mill Hill kit. I almost dropped it. That is what it's going to look like when it's done. It's from the Buttons and Beads Autumn series. It's really cute. And this got worked on. Oh, I ended up going a couple stitches over. I did 102 stitches because the thread was almost done. So I was like, let me just finish it. But that is where I'm at now. I finished the thread that was hanging here. And then I think I decided to go up here and just do the 100 stitches up here. In that top part. So this was assigned to the number 4. And on the 14th, the projected high was 84. So it got worked on once. Is that right? Yeah, make sure it was right bag. Okay. And then the last temperature piece I worked on was Welcome. And that one is assigned to the number 8. That temperature popped up on yesterday. Projected high was 78 degrees. So there was a few days, obviously, that I missed with the stitching, just because it's been a week. I was hoping to get everything done and be like, bam, look at all that. But no, not happening. It's from the fabric. Okay, so anyway, this is a kit from Artiste. That's what it's going to look like when it's done. So I'm going to show you my before picture real quick. And I'll show you this part. So I got my 100 stitches done. I was still working on the cross stitching. The E is not back stitched right here. I was working on the W in the Welcome. I got my 100 stitches done on the cross stitching. Now, this piece has now been worked on 10 times. So I'm going to show you a before picture. This is fun. I didn't do this way the last time. So this is the before when it got put into the temperature stitching. This was, yeah. And so this now has had a total of 1,000 stitches. And that's where it's at now. Isn't that cool? So from what I remember, because it was a while ago, This was my original number 8 piece. So, and I started doing temperature stitching in September. From what I remember, I have completed the E, the L, back stitching and cross stitching. I've done all the cross stitching in this E here, and then I've obviously have a start on the W there. So some people say 100 stitches isn't a lot. However, it obviously adds up, because just doing this based on throwing 100 stitches on it here and there based on whatever the temperature of the day is, I've gotten that much done. Like, that's awesome. So, but alas, that was the 10th time it was worked on. So it is getting replaced. So you will not be seeing this the rest of the year. We'll see how we can work it into next year. So that was the temperature stitching. Next up, last up, we will do my bake-off stitching. So, bake-off. I don't want to give too many spoilers because, no? Oh, it's over there. I don't want to give too many spoilers because some people are kind of catching on to this idea. And they're just starting to watch the show. So I'm not going to say who is what stitch count, so I don't spoil it. But I will say I am working on week 4. What I'm doing is I got this idea from Jessie Marie over at Jessie Marie Does Stuff. And she had come up with a cross-stitching game for the Great British Bake Off, because they have, they start off with 12 bakers. They do a signature bake, a technical bake, and a showstopper. Paul Hollywood will sometimes give someone a handshake when they do a really awesome job with their bake. And the technical bake is always judged blind, so they have a first place all the way down to last place. And then the showstopper, through all the judging, they come up with a star baker for the week who wins that week, and then someone goes home. So she explains it in her video, so you can go check her out. I did a combination of the 2 different versions that she talked about. She had one where you had a different whip for every contestant, and there was certain stitch counts assigned to certain events that occurred, and you did that stitches on that whip. Then she had excuse me, sorry. That's what I get for drinking soda. Then she had a monogamous version that she is doing because she was also doing stitches for Big Brothers, but she wanted to do Bake Off, so she came up with a monogamous version where you have one whip and you have different stitch counts assigned to the contestants. And then she had a formula for the technical bake for first and last. So I did a combination of both of her things. So I have the 12 bakers, and I have stitch counts every 100 randomly assigned to the bakers. So it's from 100 to 1200. And if that person gets a handshake, that stitch count goes onto my main piece. If that person wins if a person wins star baker or a person gets eliminated, those stitches also go on my main piece. And then for the technical stitches, the formula is N. N is the number of bakers in that week that are baking in the technical challenge. And so it's N times 25 for the loser, last place, and N times 50 for the first place. And I have 2 whips that are very loosely quoted close to a finish. None of my shit's close to a finish. I think that there are way less stitches than there actually are in these things. Every time I'm like, oh yeah, this one's close to a finish. And then I start working, I'm like, this is not close to a finish. What was I thinking? But I have 2 whips that are close to a finish. One is assigned to even, one is assigned to odd. So if the person who is in first place has a stitch count, say of 600, the even whip gets the end times 50. If that person has a stitch count of 300 assigned to them, then the odd whip gets end times 50. And then if both first and last have this both even or both odd, then that one whip. So sometimes it'll be 2 different finish, like technical stitches, and sometimes it's 1. This week it was 1. So my technical stitches, I can't remember if this was even or odd, but they both were the same. It was either both even or both odd. So all the stitches are going towards this one right here. This is from Little House Needleworks. This is the Calendar Girls series from 2014, and this is Calendar Girls April. I did not get all of the stitches completed on her. I was only able to do 250. So she will continue. I'm going to continue. I'm rolling over my week 4 bake-off stitching into the upcoming week. But this is where I'm at with her now. I'm using the Call for DMC on a 32 count. I don't know the color. Hang on. One of these. Oh, here it is. 32 count Legacy Lugana from Picture This Plus. And I'm doing it 2/2. So she's still headless and handless. She has no head, no hands. But I worked all in her dress. So I have to finish the little bit of blue. I was sick of working on that blue. So I was like, let me work on this blue. So I got to finish this little band here, finish the little bit of blue here. These, the little design in her skirt. Got to do her feet. Like I'm saying, I'm like, oh, this is close to a finish. No, it ain't. I don't know what I was thinking. I got to finish this part here. I got to do her head and her hat. Like, what was I thinking? But anyway, so she still needs 425 stitches for Bake Off. So we'll see how far I get. I want to say that all of these Calendar Girls are averaging about 1,500 to 1,900, 1,500 or 1,900 stitches. I don't remember. It might be 1,900. I really don't remember. Real quick, since I have it right here, when I finish them, it's not truly an FFO because I just basically folded it up and shoved it in a pillow. But this is the June one. It's crooked because, again, I just shoved it into this little pillow that I picked up at Brick City. But what I'll probably do is kind of cut it so it's a little bit more even and it's not all folded up and shoved in there. And I'll just switch them out every month. So I just have it sitting over here. Oh, it was so cute. So Gracie will lay on the couch, my kitty, and she's actually, hang on. I'm going to move the camera. Look at her. Oh, Gracie. But she was, now I can't get it back. She was laying on the couch earlier this week, and she had her head resting on my little Calendar Girls pillow. It was so cute. I was like, oh, how cute. And then when I said, oh, how cute, she raised her head up. So anyway, so she still needs 425 stitches for the bake-off stitching. My main piece, let me put her back in here so she doesn't get lost. My main piece for bake-off is Honeymoon Sunset. This needed 1,400 stitches for Bake Off. I did not get it all done. I only got 452. So it still needs like 948 stitches. That was quick math in my head. I don't know if that's right. But Honeymoon Sunset by the Cross Stitch Studio, charted by Abraham. Nope. Artwork is by Abraham Hunter. It's charted by the Cross Stitch Studio. It's 869 by 649 and has 133 colors. That's what it's going to look like when it's done. I have a goal to get this to, right now, my goal is to get it to 45% by the end of next year. We'll see where I'm at the end of this year. I may or may not up it a bit. But I got 452 stitches done. I've converted this into a diagonal, and I'm doing it with the Call for DMC. I don't change the floss colors on full coverages like this. They charted it like that for a reason. But 2/1/10 stitch on a 25 count easy count Lugana. I'm going to show you where I worked first, and then we'll show the whole thing because you guys love seeing the whole thing, and I love showing it off. But my 452 stitches is in this diagonal here. So you see the gazebo's filling in right there. So that's exciting. And so like I said, I still have like just under 1,000 stitches to do for Bake Off. So you guys will get to see the roof of the house. So there's a house right here, and the lighthouse is over here. And you guys will see the corner of the house starting to come in as well. But yeah, I got 452 stitches done on it. And actually, let me just show it like this while I read off my stats real quick, and then I'll show the whole thing. So I am currently sitting at 209,448 stitches done. Out of 563,981, I am at 37.14%. Gotta stand up for this. Hang on. Just a minute. Here's the whole thing. Look how that corner's coming in, huh? That's awesome. But yeah, that's the whole thing so far. So, Tree from Hell. It was a nightmare working on it, but it looks really good. But I hate palm trees anyway, and the confetti on this thing is no joke. And it's now, everybody now, because I'm in a few different Facebook groups, and now everybody's calling it the Tree from Hell. They understand why I'm calling it that. Because I've enabled a lot of people to buy this pattern because it really is a great pattern. Betsy did a fabulous job charting it. But man, that palm tree is just unreal. Getting the sky in between all the palm fronds there. Ugh. I love it, but hate it. And then these, I do not care about these. So don't come at me for these threads over here when I'm over in that opposite corner. I don't care about those threads right now. If they bother me, I will end them and cut them off, but they don't. And then I got that corner down there done. And then I got all 4 corners done because even though this is like pre-gridded fabric, I was paranoid that I didn't have enough. I could have just counted, duh. But I got this corner down here done too. So I have all 4 corners worked. And then I've also worked my way across the entire top right there. And then here in the middle, this is where this, like the sunset and the waves splashing up is going to be, I think. This is a sailboat coming in, and this is like the rocky, this is where the land starts. Beach is going to be down here with I'm excited to get to the campfire, not the campfire, but the fire that's going on the beach with the chairs. The lighthouse, the top of it is right here. So as I get this diagonal done, you're going to see probably about that much of the lighthouse get filled in. So that'll be really cool. And then that's the whole gazebo right there. That's like needs to be filled in. And then that blue up here, this is some of the house that's next to the lighthouse, like where the lighthouse keeper person lives. But yeah, so there's that. So yeah, I'm at 37.14%. Like I said, I want to get it to 45% by the end of next year. what I'm going to do is calculate how many stitches it would be for 40. Well, I know how many stitches I need to get to 45%. I'm going to calculate how many I would need to get to 50% and see if I think that's going to be doable by the end of next year. We'll see. So those are all my whips. Let's update my boards. So for right now, this is all going to change next year. And I will go over that in yet another plans video. I already posted one plans video. Of course, I'm changing my plans up, so I'll post an update. But for right now, when I had started doing this, I was pulling full coverages, non-full coverages, starts, finishes, stuff to finish and all that mess. So I'm keeping the boards until the end of the year. So what I'm doing is my non-full coverages, I started off with a goal of getting it to 5,000 stitches or getting 5,000 stitches on it. So It's a Marshmallow World is actually on this list. That's one of my Monopoly pieces, not all of. So I was pulling from baskets for this stuff here, but some of my Monopoly pieces are actually from this list and my full coverage list. So that's why some of it's on here and some of it isn't. But it's a Marshmallow World. Since I started doing this in September, I've gone from 501 stitches to, hang on, where did that list go? Here it is. Nope, hang on. Here it is. Okay, so let's try this again. See if I can get it without glare. Okay, it's a Marshmallow World right here. I'm going from 501 stitches completed to 801. And my goal is dropping from 4,499 down to 4,199. And I think that's it for that. Yeah, that's it for that board. When I started doing those boards, I had big plans. I had multiple projects coming from each board, and I was planning on tracking a lot of stuff on every board, and that didn't happen. Okay, this one is a combination of my new starts that I want 3,000 stitches on and stuff that I need to work on to get completed. So we're going to update Calendar Girls April. Oh, I didn't do my dates for my finishes on here. We'll just say, oh, wait, I do know. I didn't update my stitch count on this though, for Best Friends Quotes. And then the other one that I had finished was one more chapter, and that was done the next day, I believe. Yeah, because I had 3 finishes in 24 hours. And then we'll just down here at the bottom, we'll do Haid Sal was completed 11/11. Really messy handwriting, but it doesn't matter. This stitch count is not accurate. I didn't update that. And same with one more chapter. I don't think that's accurate either, but it doesn't matter because I updated it. It's in my computer. Anyway, Calendar Girls April. I'm just tracking the amount that I've done on them because I don't really, all of these are paper patterns, so I have no idea how many stitches it's going to take to get it done. So Calendar Girls April, I am going from 300. Hang on. I need my eraser. 300 stitches completed to, I'm adding 250, so I'm going to 550 completed on Calendar Girls April. So there's that one. And then on my full coverage board, there's actually a couple pieces that we're going to update on this one. So, Peaceful Jaguar, I got my 70 stitches done. So My full coverage ones, I had goals of 10,000 stitches. And then the idea was that I was going to do this. And then when it hit 0, I was going to replace them with another piece. But again, all my stuff is changing at the beginning of the year. We're still going to track stuff like this, but I'm just changing how we're tracking and what we're tracking. But Peaceful Jaguar, I did 70 stitches. So this is going from 10,000 stitches down to 9,930. Wah, wah, wah. That's so pathetic. But my reindeer stocking, the one that passes go, that is on this list. So this one is actually getting a lot of stitches done. And so this one is going from 1,200 stitches to 1,400 because I did 200 this weekend or this past week. And my goal for it is dropping from 8,800 down to 8,600. Fun. I'm excited about next year. Not excited enough to throw everything out the window and restart. We're going to, my new plans, those will go into effect the last Flosstube of the year. So it's technically going to have like another week of December, but that's what I did last year. And it's all because of my schedule with my kids. I get them every other week for a week at a time. We have 50-50 custody, me and my ex. And I don't like to film when they're here because they are teenage boys, well, preteen and teenager, and they're loud. And then they'll try to get into the video and they think that they're funny. And I'm like trying to film. I did a video with my kids here one time, a few years ago. And my older one was like in the kitchen. I don't remember when it was, but like he made noise. He dropped something and I was like giving him a death stare. I think he burped in the video and I'm like, oh my God. So I try not to film when they're here. And I have them the last week going into New Year. So I got to start my plans early. Okay. All right. My last board. This is my 4 focus pieces. I did not get to work on Yippee-Ki-Yay. But is my hair okay? It's poking out a little bit, but it's whatever. Okay. I'm keeping Mary Mushroom up there the rest of the year. Done, bitches. Finished my hate sal on the November the 11th. Oh, that was so exciting. I'm not doing the hate sal next year. Letting you know that now, that is not happening. I didn't purchase it. I was gifted the full design of the piece that I liked the most from the 2025 hate sal. Once I get this done and I do my Monopoly and I come back, I will go over the hate sal because I do know what the rules are. So I will go over it with you and how you could go about doing it if you choose to. Because there's still a couple weeks left to purchase, to get into it. Yeah, hate sal, done. Okay, Honeymoon Sunset. Since I started doing this tracking, this is going from, my goal is to get it right now, to get it to 45% by the end of next year. So going towards that goal, I started doing this tracking in July. I have done 14,000, I'm going from 14,431 stitches completed to 14,883. And stitches needed to complete my goal is dropping from 44,795 down to 44,343. Riding the wave, this is my whip of shame. My goal is to do 100 stitches a day for 30 days. I started off with 729. I am adding my 1,201 half stitches that I've done. So this is now at 1,930. my stitches needed is dropping from 2,200, it's kind of partially erased, but it's 2,271 stitches. This is dropping down to 1,070 stitches needed to finish my goal for the month of November. Yippee-ki-yay, my goal is to finish it, but I don't have a deadline for that. It's just whenever. It's for my kid. He asked me to make that for him. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, is there anything else I need to do before I break to Monopoly? I don't think so. So I'm going to break to play a round of Monopoly. And then I'm going to come back and we will go over my Whip of Shame contenders for the month of December. I'm going to show you the replacement piece. Actually, oh, it's over there. So I'll get it. When we come back, I'll show you what the replacement piece for Welcome is going to be. And we will go over my plans for the upcoming week and what I'm going to do about Thanksgiving, because I'm supposed to film a Flosstube on Thanksgiving, but I will have my kids that day. So we'll talk about what I plan on doing. So I will be right back. Okay, let's play a round of Monopoly. So we are on round 10. My game will be resetting at the beginning of the year, or end of the year, whatever. Anyway, it's going to reset for 2025. But for right now, we are playing Monopoly. I have a hair on my dice here. And if you want to play along at home, you can select a token and do those stitch counts for that token. You can, right now, what I do is I have a whip assigned to every property, and that property's whip is what gets stitches. But you don't have to do it that way. There's some people who have a project assigned to each board. There are some people who have a project assigned to each side of the board. There are some people who have projects assigned to each color section. So these three properties would have the same whip. Some people are only using one piece, one whip, and they're picking one of my tokens, and whatever stitch count is assigned to that token, that's what they're doing on their whip. So you can work it out however you wish. You can either play your own version of Monopoly, which I've seen a lot of people doing. I know Jessie Marie, and I think it's, who is she playing with? Sammy? Few other people. I know Jessie Marie's playing Monopoly with a group of her friends, and that's how she's doing hers. Shay and Tasha over at Sloppy Stitch and Sisters, they're actually the ones who I got this idea from. They play themselves, like by themselves, like I do, and they have whips in categories assigned to locations on the board. Becky over at Becky's Madness for Crafting, she's playing Monopoly with her family, with her husband and her daughter, and I think that she has whips assigned to those properties as well. So so you can either play yourself, or you can just watch me do all the work and then just do the stitches. That's what Suki is doing. Suki the Brown-Eyed Stitcher, she is just watching what I'm doing, and she's just assigning stitch counts, or doing the assigned stitch counts. So yes, you can watch me do all the work. You can post it and tag me on Instagram. I do not post on Instagram because I just don't, I always forget. But I don't post on Instagram, but you can tag me because I do go on there and look. And I am on Instagram, I am at Jen the Caffeinated Crafter _ between all the words. So you can tag me on there. Some people, they're kind of doing away with following hashtags, but you can search for the hashtags if you want to look at the stuff. But some people are posting hashtag Jen's Monopoly Sal, and it's Jen with 2 N's. So, and these dice were made for me by Andrew, the Runner Stitcher. I love them so much. Love them. Thank you, Thank you again, Andrew. Okay, So we're going to start with the cat. The cat is on Waterworks. And it rolled a 10. So I'm going to kind of go around and then we'll move the board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Landed on luxury tax. So that will be 200 stitches on my free parking piece. And then next we're going to go to the dog. The dog is right up here, so I'm going to leave the board where it's at. And we'll go ahead and roll. I'll move it if I need to. Oh, it rolled. That dog, I swear. Some people have picked the dog as its token, and the dog keeps getting into trouble with these doubles. Double trouble. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it passed go. And it landed on Baltic. Baltic is already owned by the Thimble. So it will have to pay rent. And since it rolled doubles, we're going to go again. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, chance. Hang on, let me write this down real quick. Wait, actually, let me see what this is. Chance. Oh, but I get to stay there. Okay. Speeding fine heading to your local... You got a speeding fine heading to your local needlework shop. I have to... God, dog it. I have to do 200 stitches on my jail property. Oh, God. Oh, so he's not in jail. That dog has been in jail so much. So he's not in jail, but I still have to do jail stitches. Okay, let me write this down. Chance side 1. Let me just scribble on here, 200 on jail. So I remember. Man, I know some of you are just cackling about the fact that I have to do 200 more stitches on that stupid jail whip. Okay, now we are going to the Thimble, which is right here on Baltic. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Landed on Vermont. And Vermont is not currently owned, so the Thimble is just buying everything here. So the Thimble is going to purchase Vermont for 100 stitches. And now we are at the car. The car is up here on free parking. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. B&O Railroad. Okay, so B&O Railroad is not owned. So the car is going to purchase B&O Railroad. So I will go over all the stitch counts, what the whips are and everything when I come back. I'll say this again when I go over the Monopoly stitching, but the information for where each piece landed and how many stitches and all that jazz will be in the description box down below. And again, I'm going to say it again because I'm going to stop this and get everything that I need to stitch on, and I'll probably forget that I said all that, so I'll say it again when I come back. Okay, let me get everything together and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. Real quick, I showed Gracie earlier when she was sleeping on the couch. She's woke up from her nap and left. But here's my baby, Mr. Whiskers. I know everyone loves seeing Mr. Whiskers make a camera. He's tired. He was taking a nap on the dining room chair. And I was like, hey, you need to come make your appearance on the video. There's my baby, Mr. Whiskers. Oh, he's so sweet. I know you were sleeping and I woke you up. I'm so sorry. But I didn't want to hear it from the people. Now I got cat hair. I think my hair is falling out of my ponytail. All right. So, real quick, let me talk about my schedule. So, Thanksgiving is on Thursday next week in the U.S. And so I hope everyone has a happy Thanksgiving. I'll say it again in my next video. But my plan, I have my kids on Thanksgiving Day. So I can't film a Flosstube that day. If I didn't have my kids, I would have filmed a Flosstube. But I'm going to have my kids on Thanksgiving Day, so I'm not going to film a Flosstube that day. But I will film a Flosstube Wednesday evening. So that does not give me a lot of time between Flosstubes, and then it's going to give me extra time for the following Flosstube. So my next Flosstube I will actually film Wednesday instead of Thursday. So my temperature stitching is going to be cut back a little. I'm not 100% certain how much stitching I'm going to be able to get done. Tomorrow I have to run down to my mom's house. I usually spend Thanksgiving with my mom, but she is going on a cruise. How exciting. They leave on Sunday. So she won't be here for Thanksgiving. So it's just going to be me and the boys, which is fine. It's okay. And I'm going to cook. They are super excited about being able to, they're going to miss Nan, but they are super excited that I'm going to cook for Thanksgiving, because the day after Thanksgiving is when I get them back. And you know what they're excited for? Thanksgiving leftovers. We usually go with my mom either over to her house, or sometimes her and my stepdad will rent a cabin up in Georgia or North Carolina. That's, we've done that in the past. And so we only get to eat Thanksgiving leftovers for like a day. Or if I think last year we went down to my mom's house and we each took a plate home, because she feeds so many people. It's like, we're there, my brother's there with his fiance and their daughter. And, it's a lot of people that come. And, so we usually get enough for like a plate and then a few extra things. So they asked me to make a Thanksgiving dinner, like regular, like not just for 3 people, like a regular, like we're feeding 10 people, because they want leftovers for days. So I was like, you know what? That's fine, because we're making all the stuff that we enjoy eating. And so it'll be okay. It'll be okay. But I'm getting a turkey from my mother. She got one from work. They were giving turkeys away, and she's not going to cook it because she won't be there. So I'm going to go down tomorrow morning and get the turkey from her before they leave. And that's really all I got to do this week. Well, I have to finish my shopping, my grocery shopping. But other than that, that's all I got to do this weekend. So I'm hoping that I can get a lot of stitching done. Video-wise, I plan on doing a Stitch With Me to talk about the food that I made this past week for my kids. Because I know not everyone enjoys Stitch With Me's, but the ones that do watch them, I will be doing a Stitch With Me this weekend to post this week. I may do a second one to talk about Thanksgiving dinner. Cat hair. I may do a second one to talk specifically about what I'm going to make for Thanksgiving. That way I can post that the following week to give you guys something else to tide you over until my regular Flosstube. And I'm going to, for the 4th time, I'm going to try to do a video where I'm washing out the grid lines of one of my projects so that you guys can see it. And I'll show you that project in a little bit. Okay. First thing I'm going to show is my Whip of Shame contenders so hopefully, fingers crossed, there's going to be, not everyone enjoys those extras, but if you do enjoy those extras, hopefully there'll be a few videos to watch. So, Whip of Shame contenders for the month of December. If you have not voted yet, I will show you both of these projects. And you guys vote in the comments section. Yes, I can do a poll. No, I'm not going to. I enjoy reading the comments. You guys can vote in the comments which one you want to see me work on in the month of December. First one up is a Dimensions Gold collection. This is Magnificent Wizard, designed by Don Mates. It is from 2002. I'm using everything that came in the kit. It is a 18 count black Ada, and this is my starting point with it. This has been a whip of shame before. It was earlier this year, over the summer sometime, I believe. So even though I've already done it as a whip of shame this year, because it's been long enough in my opinion, it's still in the running to be another whip of shame. But this is my starting point for that. And it's a big pattern. So I made a copy of a section. And so this is the area that I made a copy of. So I will, if this is the winner, I will stay in this area and continue to fill that in. But that is my starting point for Magnificent Wizard. And you can call it whatever you want. You can call it wizard, you can call it dragons. There's a dragon in this thing. You can call it whatever you want. I will figure out what you're talking about. The other contender for the whip of shame for the month of December is from 1997. This is a very old Dimensions kit. And this is, let's see, it's designed by Martha Edwards. This is 3 bird watchers. So it's 3 little kittens looking out the window at some birds on a ledge. It's kind of Christmassy. It's got like holly berries and stuff. But yeah, this is 3 bird watchers. I'm using, with this one as well, I'm using everything that came in the kit. So this one is this is a regular Dimensions kit. This is an 18 count ivory Ada. And this is my starting point on it. I had said that if this one is the winner, my goal for whichever one is the winner, is going to be 3,100 stitches, because there are 31 days in the month of December, and it's 100 stitches a day for that month. So I had said that I was probably going to work in this area here and work my way down. But I think if this is the winner, I think I might actually come right here, like here, and work my way down. Maybe try to work on this bird or something. Get something besides some background, because that's what I've been doing with all my whips of shame, is working on the background part, because that's boring. I don't know. I'll have to think about that if this is the winner. But that's my starting point for that one. So 3 bird watchers. You can call it kittens. You can call it 3 bird watchers. You can call it whatever you want. I don't care. I don't care. I'll figure it out. Is this the right? That is not the right one. I was putting this in the wrong bag. So you have until... Oh, this is where it's going to get tricky. So you have until the end of the month. Usually what I do is the last floss tube of the month, I tell you who the winner is. But I'm pulling up my calendar on my tablet. But the problem is that I'm filming Wednesday. Should I change it? Yes, I'm changing the date. So usually I tell you have until the end of the month to vote. Because of the way I have to film this time, voting will end on Wednesday, November the 27th. I'm going to film in the evening. So if you're watching this and it is during the day, I'm on Eastern time in the US, because I'm going to film after work. So if you're seeing this on Wednesday, but it's during the day, you can still vote. I mean, you can vote if you want, but it just won't count if it's after I start filming. So I'm going to end the voting on Wednesday the 27th before I film. I will announce at that point who the winner is, and I will start stitching on the winner at the beginning of December, and then you will see my progress on it. Wednesday. You will see my progress on it on the 6th of December when I film my next Flosstube. So you will get about a week's worth of progress on the winning piece when I film the first Flosstube of December. So that's how we'll do it. Voting will end on Wednesday. What did I say, 26th or 27th? 25th? 20. Oh, Lord. Wednesday the 27th is when voting ends. All right? Wednesday the 27th. You have until then to vote. Okay. Next up, temperature stitching. So, welcome was completed for the 1,000 stitches. So my replacement piece for that is going to be, where did she go? My replacement piece for that is going to be one of my Mother Nature pieces. This is from Just Cross Stitch Magazine. I believe it's from 2023, from Just Cross Stitch Magazine, and this is Mother Nature Christmas, and that is what she will look like when she is done. I am stitching her on a 28 count tea-dyed Monaco 2/2, and this is my starting point with her. So I will work on her for 1,000 stitches for temperature for the rest of the year. So we'll see how much of that I can get done. But that's my starting. Oh, so actually real quick. So that's my replacement piece. And then the temperatures I did temperatures up through Wednesday. So including Wednesday, because I believe I'm going to get out of work early Wednesday, but I'm going to see if I can get some extra stitching done before I film Flosstube. So I'll probably film at my normal get off of work time. So the temperatures from today through Wednesday, starting with today, are the projected highs are 68 degrees. This is in Fahrenheit. 68 degrees, 69 degrees, 75 degrees, 80 degrees, 80 degrees, 80 degrees. It's getting hot again. Okay, so she is assigned to number 8. So she is due to get 100 stitches on her. Fingers crossed, I can do as much as I possibly can. Well, no, I mean, I will do as much as I possibly can. Fingers crossed, I will do all that I'm saying that I'm going to do. How about that? Okay. So that was number 8. And then for the 69 degrees, that is Spanish Sampler. Now here, so I may try to carry over stitches. So before, if I did not complete my temperature stitching, I rolled it over and included it into the following week. Then I stopped doing that because it was building up too much. I'm going to see if I can go ahead and roll over what I did not complete this past week. I'm going to see if I can roll it over into next week. If I can't get them done by the next Flosstube, I'm not going to worry about it. So Spanish Sampler. I had the book in my lap. There it is. Spanish Sampler is out of 101 Best Loved Designs from Cross Stitch and Country Crafts. I actually bought this book for Amid Amish Life, and I have not started this one yet. That's why I bought this book. Also, check out the creepies. Hee hee. I had started I had started her when I was in high school out of the magazine. And I had to stop because I had messed her up. But I had actually started her like back in high school, and I had to stop. But she has a brother, y'all. The creepy children. I may stitch them just for the creep factor. Not in my current plans right now, but where? Here it is. Okay, so Spanish Sampler. This is the one I'm actually working on out of this book. This is what it's going to look like when it's done. I'm using the called for floss, and I am doing this on a 28 count white casual linen that I had in my stash. So it is assigned to the number 9. It was due to get 100 stitches last week and I did not get to it. And it is due to get 100 stitches this week for tomorrow's temperature. I think Saturday. Yeah, Saturday is projected high of 69 degrees. So if I can, I'm going to do 200 stitches for last week and this week. I'd like to, because I like this piece. So like I said, I'm using the call for floss, and this is my starting point with it. So this block over here is done. I'm working on this band up here. I will work on this until it is completed. I have the blue outline of the diamonds going all the way across. This is where this band will end. So I was doing full crosses, and that's why there's a thread hanging here, because this part of that border is full cross. But I'm trying to get it so you can see it better in the lighting. But this outside border is 4-sided back stitching, and then the green-ish color that's in here is 4-sided back stitching, and then this is like a little wavy down here. This is like a little wavy back stitch. So those are all like specialty stitches, and so I think I will focus the 200 stitches on working this 4-sided stitch border across, and working on the green 4-sided stitch in here, the white ecru, I think it is, and then this little kind of purplish color, I believe is 3041. Those are full crosses, but they kind of get worked in around the 4-sided stitch that's in and out of the blue diamond. So I'm going to work on the green part so that I have a starting point for the full crosses next time. And then I'll probably go ahead and I'll probably work on extending this border all the way to the end. That way that's done. And then I'll work on maybe doing a strand of the green and then coming up here and doing a strand of the red. I don't know. But I'm going to get 200 stitches on the 4-sided back stitch and the little wavy back stitch that's in that. 100 for sure. Fingers crossed 200. Okay. And then Sunday's temperature is 75 degrees. The number 5 is Halloween Wishes. I have this all set up. Here it is. Number 5 is Halloween Wishes, and this is from Glendon Place. And this is what it's going to look like when it's done. It says, ghosts and goblins, spooks galore, scary witches at your door, jack-o'-lantern smiling bright, wishing you a haunting night. I felt like that fabric was a little bit too dark. It was hard to see the bottom down here. So I'm doing it on a 32 count Vintage Stormy Night by Zweigart. And this is my starting point with it. So this is 100 stitches that need to be done. So I will work on finishing this thread in the S here, and then we'll see how many stitches I have left to do if that does not do all 100. I'm not sure how big that S is going to be. And then so if I do all of the S and I still have stitches left over, I'm going to finish that little bit of green that needs to finish this S here, and then, or actually maybe I'll just finish this thread. I'll do the S, and if there's thread left on this long enough to work with, I'll come over here and finish the thread in the S over here, and if there's anything left, I'll work on finishing the little bit right here of this S. That's my plan. I might change my mind. But I'm doing it on the Vintage Stormy Night, and when I bought the pattern, I got the thread pack with it, and it is Weeks Dye Works thread. My thread's a mess, so I'm not going to show it, but it's weak side works. So then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday all have projected highs of 80 degrees. 80, so the 0 is Twisted Band Sampler, which I already showed you, but I'll just hold it up one more time because I feel like that was 5 hours ago that I showed it. Twisted Band Sampler, this one here. So this one is due for 300 stitches. I always put this one off, and I don't know why, because I really enjoy working on it. But we'll see if I can get the 300 stitches done on that. Now, if I can, I am also going to do the leftovers, which was 100 of it was Spanish Sampler, which is totally doable. But the rest of the leftover stitches was on Poltergeist Pirates. And that is also by Glendon Place. That's this one here. And so my card fell out. That's all right, I don't need it. This is my starting point. I'm doing it on the Call For fabric. It's a 28 count casual linen in the color Bang by Crosswing Collection. And I'm using the Called For floss. So if I can get my 300 on this from last week, I'm going to probably finish his hat and work on finishing this bird. The Mr. Bones is what he's been dubbed by my friend Ariana. But yeah, so I will work on the 300 stitches in Mr. Bones up here, if I can get to him. I hope I can, because I really enjoy working on him. I just did not have time to work on him, which I was very sad about. I was like, oh man, I didn't get to finish my 300 on that. So he's owed 300, so we'll see if I can get that done. Fingers crossed. So that's for the temperature stitching. Then we'll do Bake Off real quick. So Bake Off, Honeymoon Sunset. I'm not gonna pull these out because I kind of showed these towards the last ones right before Monopoly. So Bake Off, I need to finish. It was owed 1,400 stitches. I've done 452, so I need to do like 948 stitches. I'll probably do like 950. But I need to do about 950 stitches, rounding up, to finish the Bake Off stitching so I can move on to week 5. I also need to do the Calendar Girls. April, I still need to do 425 stitches on her for Bake Off, so I can move on to week 5. I already know how that's going to go. I've already watched it, but, oh, hang on one second. I threw my Calendar Girls in the bag with the rest of the Calendar Girls, and I just realized the pattern was sitting on the couch. I was like, oh, I don't want to lose that. That would suck. Okay. Next up, let's go over Monopoly stitching. So, the cat landed on luxury tax, and that is 200 stitches on my free parking piece, which, just a reminder, because I did actually just show this when I went over my Monopoly stitching, this is the Falling Snow stocking, that one there. So this one is owed 200 stitches, and just a reminder of where my starting point is going to be. Well, let me just show the whole thing one more time. So my 200 stitches will go up here to work on completing the diagonal there. So that's the cat. The dog passed go. As I go over this more and more, I'm like, how am I going to get all this done by Wednesday? I'm probably not. It's probably going to be another one where, I don't know. I'll be like, I didn't get as much as I wanted to get done. The dog passed go, rolled doubles, and it passed go, and the go piece will get 200 stitches, and this is my other stocking, the Enchanted Christmas Reindeer. So this is the whole thing, what I have done so far. My stitches will go into this diagonal here. I will continue to work on getting the parked threads from the diagonal worked in, parking in the next diagonal. And then, I mean, I'm going to get the 200 stitches done before I get all these parked threads done. But what I like to do, especially when they're this short, is I like to work in all the parked threads first and then go back in and fill the diagonal in with whatever wasn't parked. But that will get 200 stitches. I should probably really think about what I want assigned to go next year, because that one gets a lot of stitches. So past go landed on Baltic, and Baltic is owned by the Thimble. So Spa Gnome will get another 50 stitches. Just a reminder. I don't know if I'm going to do them in... I don't know if I'm going to do them in the towel on her head again, or if I will come down here and work on her. I don't know yet, because there's like a lot of towel up here. So I'm not sure where I'm going to put the 50 stitches, but I'm going to put them somewhere. But yeah, so she will get another 50 stitches for rent. And so that was the doubles roll, and then it rolled again and landed on Chance and got a speeding ticket. And so I have to do 200 stitches on my piece for when you're in jail. Anyone who has watched me knows how much I love and hate this piece at the same time. This is this is actually one of my whips of shame. I love this piece. This is a Whole Lotta Latte. It's a really old dimensions kit from, it's not as old as some of my other stuff. It's from 2007. But I love this piece. It's really cute. I just hate working on it. So it's my piece that I work on whenever someone lands in jail, because I feel like I'm in jail when I have to work on it. But the dog landed on Chance, and it says 200 stitches on the jail piece. And this is my starting point with it. So all of the cups have been started. This one's not quite done. It's still got steam that's got to come out of it. I'm not sure where I'm going to put the 200 stitches. I could come up here where I have this thread parked. I could come over here where I have this thread parked. I could work on, I actually have a thread in the back here that goes in the bottom cup. I don't know why it's hanging out the back. But I could come up here and do the 200 stitches in that cup there to try to work on getting that one done. I could do the border. I don't know. It'll be a surprise where I do the 200 stitches, but 200 stitches will be put in on that piece. And that's the nice thing about the Monopoly, also the Whip of Shame thing that I do every month, because otherwise this thing would not get worked on. Even though I really like it and I want to see it completed, I don't know. I just don't want to actually work on it. So, okay. So then the thimble rolled and it landed on Vermont. And Vermont is not owned by anyone. So the thimble is going to purchase it. And Vermont is James Dean. Vermont is on side 1 right now. I'm changing the stitch counts for next year. So I'll go over that in the plans video. But for right now, all the properties on side 1 are purchase price of 100 stitches. Rent is 50 stitches. So Vermont is on side 1. So purchase price for this is going to be 100 stitches. And this is James Dean by Stitching Jewels Design. That is what it's going to look like when it's done. And I'm doing it in black in 310, and I'm doing it on an 18 count Ada Hazelwood. I always forget. Hazelwood, I think it is, by Spygart. And that's my starting point with him. He looks really good. But that's my starting point with him. I don't know if I'm going to do 100 stitches in his little shirt here, because that's like solid block stitching, or if I'm going to come up here and work on his hair. I don't know yet. He is starting off at 36.99%. So I'll get him to 37% for sure. But he's a total, right now I'm starting off, well, I'll go over that later. I'll go over that when I work on it next week. But yeah, so he will get 100 stitches. And then the car rolled, and the car landed on B&O Railroad, and that is not owned yet, so the car is going to purchase B&O Railroad. I do not, so in the game, in the actual game, the railroads are all the same price, no matter what side they're on, and they are a different price than everything else. I did not do that for this game that I'm doing. It's just side 1, side 2, side 3, side 4. Whatever property is on it, that's how many stitches it gets. So the purchase price for side 3 is 300 stitches. And B&O Railroad is, I need one moment now that I'm thinking about it. Hang on, because I've worked on this, but I think it was when one of them landed on it. Yeah, it was before they passed go. So the first round around the board, nobody could buy anything. They just did 100 stitches on whatever they landed on. That's why I was like, I know I've worked on this for Monopoly, but that's what it was for. B&O Railroad is Autumn Sampler by Color Design Studio. Artwork is by Sandy Orton. And I'm doing this with the Call for DMC on a 28 count tea-dyed Monaco. Hi, Gracie. It's time for their num-nums. So she's like, why are you still in here? I want my num-nums. And this is my starting point with it. So I will have to do 300 stitches. I will probably see if I can finish doing the back stitching of like the leaf back stitching in this section up here. And I may try, oh, what's that thing called? The thing of straw. But I will probably work on doing the leaves here. Working on that deal right there. So the leaves go to right there. And they go down to here. So I will work on that section right there. I'm trying to do all of my sampler pieces here. I'm trying to do the back stitching as I go, because on all 4 of them, there's a lot of back stitching. So I'm trying to like do a section and back stitch it and before I move on to another one. But that'll get 300 stitches. So that is my Monopoly stitching. Okay. For the rest of it, my Whip of Shame. What did I say? 1,070 stitches is left for the month. So I'm not planning on having that completed by the next Flosstube, because next Flosstube will be, what, the 27th? I will still have like 3 more days. So I'm not stressing about getting 1,000 more stitches on this before Wednesday. I have until the end of the month. So the other ones are, I'm keeping the pieces I've already pulled. I'm not going to draw new ones. I'm going to keep them because when I pulled them out, I was very excited to work on them. I just have not been able to work on them. So, but my focus piece for my kid, for my son, is Yippee-Ki-Yay by Stitchman Darcy. And that is this piece here, Yippee-Ki-Yay motherfucker. It's a quote from Die Hard. Yippee-Ki-Yay motherfucker. And this is my starting point with it. It is currently sitting at 57.77% done with the cross stitching. That is not counting the back stitching. I said last week that I was going to try to get back stitching done as much as I could before I proceeded with more cross stitching, and that's still going to be my plan. So hopefully Wednesday you will see some back stitching on this. We'll see. So there's that one. And then one I did not get to work on is my non-full coverage pole that I had done. And this, I keep dropping all the index cards. Christmas Rules by Primrose Cottage Stitches, designed by Lindsay Waite. And that's what it's going to look like when it's done. And this, I can just hold it up like this. That's my starting point with it. We'll see how many stitches I can get done on this. I don't know if I'm going to stay up here in the hot chocolate or if I'm going to go down, because I like to change up where I'm working, but that's my starting point with it. So we'll see if I can get anything done on that. And then Peaceful Jaguar, this one here, bad print, but the one I showed you in Pattern Keeper, I'm keeping this one out because I would like to, what I would like to do is get the, whatever is in this first diagonal, finish, and so not finish this, but finish the diagonal, because there's a few stitches in there that need to be done. So get that diagonal done and come over here, nope, come down here and do the diagonal here, and then start doing the diagonal rotation that I want to do. So that's my starting point. Yeah, okay. I was just double checking, make sure those were in the same spot. Okay, that's my starting point. So hopefully the next time you see this, you'll see parked threads hanging from here, and then you'll see a diagonal here, and hopefully you'll see bigger corners in them. Fingers crossed. We will see how much I can get done. All right. And then the final piece was my one that I had pulled. That's not really a new start because I've already started it, but my new start pull. So the goal is 3,000 stitches, but I do not believe that this is going to take 3,000 stitches. Like, I think this will be done before the 3,000 stitches is up. But this is what I was talking about. This is from Shannon Christine Designs, and it is Halloween Selection 2. I got this as a kit from Pain Free Crafts. This is the one that I'm working on. I'm going to do both of them, but this is the one I'm working on. And when I bought it as a kit, the fabric that she sent with it was an 18 count gridded Ada. I almost said Abra. And that's my starting point with it. All that's left is the metallic and beads. So I don't want to wash this thing to get the grid lines out. And I don't want to put in the metallic and the beads before I wash this. So my plan is to wash this thing to get the grid lines out, and I will do a video on it, on getting the grid lines out. Now, not gonna lie, I have never washed one of these before, so I actually have to double check and make sure I know how to get the grid lines out. I think it's hot water. So it's gonna be a little experimental video to see what happens. And keep your fingers crossed for me that the colors don't run. But if they do, oh well, it's a very, very tiny piece. I really, like, if the colors run on this, it's whatever. Oh, stop. She sounds like I heard her and I did not. Here's Gracie. Hi, Gracie. You want your num-nums, don't you? I'm almost done. I'm almost done, and then you'll get them. It's not that late. Here's Gracie Lou. This is Gracie Lou Freebush, named after my favorite actresses. Oh my God. Gracie Lou Freebush from Miss Congeniality. I love Sandra Bullock. So her name is Gracie. That's how, like when I got her from my mom, her name was Gracie. And so I think they were calling her Gracie Lou, and I just called her Gracie Lou Freebush. So, but yeah, so my plan is to do a video of getting the grid lines out, and then I can work on the metallic and the beads, and then this will be done. I've been meaning to do this for like weeks, and I just have not had time to do it. So hopefully, because even on the weekends I didn't have my kids, I had stuff going on. So the only thing I have going on this weekend is I have to finish my grocery shopping for Thanksgiving and go pick up the turkey from my mother. And that's all I have to do. So hopefully I can get everything done that I would like to get done. But yeah, that's my plans. I will do a video early Wednesday instead of Thursday because of Thanksgiving. And make sure you vote for the Whip of Shame for the month of December if you have not already done so. And what else is coming up? End of year whip parade season is approaching. I'm excited. I love watching whip parades. Mine is going to be another epically long whip parade because I have a lot of stuff to show. I'm also going to be doing, I probably will post that. I'm probably going to film it mid-December and post it towards Christmas. And then I also have another finalized 2025 plans video. Well, finalized, it's always going to change. Gracie's playing with something. My plans change. They always change. But my quote-unquote finalized plans for 2025, I will post that video in December as well. And I think that's it. Believe that's it. So if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comment section down below. If you like what you had to see and you're not already subscribed, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below and the bell to be notified whenever I post a new video. And I think that's it. So take care, happy stitching, get a lot of stitches in, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.